All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to the next episode of Diamond Effect Podcast. And today I have one of my former clients, Madison from Lovelee Creative, and we'll talk about again growing as an entrepreneur and getting from a 9 to 5 to full-time being a business owner and all the other journey that Madison has come through as an entrepreneur. So Madi, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to do the interview with me. And I'll ask you to introduce yourself to everybody. Tell us about you, your business, how long have you been in business, and anything else you want to say.
Yes, so my name is Madison Lee of Lovelee Creative, and I'm a brand strategist and designer, which essentially means that I do all things brand related, brand foundation, logos, websites, social media, all the things. I'm the one-stop shop. And I work with service-based women entrepreneurs. I've been in business for, wow, it's like a year and a half now officially. And it's gone by very fast, to say the least. I can't believe I'm saying like it's a year and a half at this point. And yeah, my journey really brought me to being a brand designer, and that I always knew I wanted to have my own business, but the question always was what? And I kept creating business after business. And I was like, this isn't it. Well, this one isn't it. Well, this isn't it either. And then eventually I realized that I loved the creating the business, creating the brands, the logos, the websites. I'm like, well, isn't this a business? And that's kind of how I ended up here after 10 failed business attempts and stuff. I was like, wait, I didn't like those things. I liked the creating it. So here I am today doing it for others now.
Awesome. Awesome. And you know what? You have a great passion for brand. Like, I love all your Instagram. You need to follow Madison on Instagram, all your reels and your content. I always, watch it and I love it. Like, I think it's just so you, but it's funny and informative and really valuable at the same time. So I'm just going to put a plug right there in front. Follow Madison on Instagram. So, you started your business, you were still working, right? And then when we started working together, when you joined Diamond Effect program, you were kind of still working 9 to 5. And then slowly, very quickly, when we started working, it became like fully booked, right? Like it was like a month or two and you became like fully booked with clients. And then as you grew that, you slowly quit your job and you moved on to being a full-time business owner. So, I want to ask you to talk about that and how did that look for you? What helped you? What sort of, how that journey looks? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs that start this way, and that's even how I started, right? It's hard to make that decision, right? It's hard to break that bond with this, in quotes, safe 9 to 5 that provides a certain income, and really trust yourself fully to say, hey, I can create that and even better on my own in my own business. So tell us about that.
Uh, um, I mean, I think one of like my biggest fears in life really is like living, but life is passing me by. And I've always been like really scared of that and aware of it. And that's what was happening to me at my corporate job, is like a year went by and I was like, wait, where did the year go? What's going on? And I really just wanted to kind of take it into my own hands. So, when I started working with you, I was very like, okay, like it's go time. Like, let's make the transition. And things got very busy for me, but I was, I think, really struggling. And we had so many conversations about this to like quantify when is when is it time? How do you know it's time to like leave the comfort of money coming in every week to join the roller coaster of income that is like entrepreneurship? And it's literally what it is. It's like all the money, not and that's kind of the transition you were going from. And it was nerve-wracking. And I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, I need to make, X amount of dollars a month to be able to say, like, okay, you can leave. And I think a lot of it for me too was the mindset of it. Like, I think the conversation was, I was like, I want to make $3,000 a month. And I was like, well, if I make $6,000 one month, and then maybe I make, I don't know, 2,000 one month, And then it's like, well, wait, I didn't hit my goal for the 2000. And we had those conversations of like, oh yeah, but you had to, you know what I mean? You had to cut it and like even it out. And so I think for me, it was a large part, like that mental side of like knowing when it was okay, when I was okay to do it and feeling comfortable. But I don't think there's ever a time where it feels comfortable to do. I think there just comes a moment where you're like, it's time. Like, you know what I mean? You can find any reason in the books not to make the transition, but I think you just realize that like finances are not, and I did. I was like, my happiness, I want that to be above all else. So let's do it. And I've never once looked back, regretted it, like so happy.
Yeah.
So
And,
happy.
and you know what? You bring a good point about money management, right? Because it's definitely very different when we have a 9 to 5 and that income keeps coming, you don't think about it. And I was thinking about it lately. Yeah, you don't think about it, but at the same time, if you think like, oh, I need more money because I have this in plan, you feel kind of stuck because it's not like you can just make magically more money being a 9 to 5 unless you get promotion or switch a job, right? Whereas when you're in your business, yes, there might be months that are lower, there might be months that are higher. And as you grow your business, that minimum you make every month raises, right? So you can get to a steady minimal income, but then there might be variations. And it's all about managing, right? So we're not spending everything we make on a high month. We're just, putting stuff in buckets, right? Just like we chatted about, and we have this magic spreadsheet that helps us to do it.
I love the magic spreadsheet.
But also understanding that, hey, if I have an income goal that I want to make just because, hey, I have a trip coming up, whatever, I have this magic thing, I can actually create it. And I don't need to wait 2 years to get a promotion, or I can just come up with something, create a demand and just make the money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's a shift in the way you view money in entrepreneurship versus like a corporate job. Like you just have to, I guess, shift the view, and the way we all see money in the corporate world is so much different from at least the entrepreneurial mindset with it. And I think once you make that shift, it all becomes a lot easier.
Yes, for sure. So talking about shifts, so tell me a little bit, out of all the breakthroughs and all the kind of mindset shifts that you've done in your entrepreneurial journey, what would be like the 3 most important ones for you, what they were and why are they so important?
So I would have to start with like my first one, just being leaving my corporate job. I think a lot of people would say like, in order to start your like small business, you need to leave a corporate job. And I know that was something a lot of people would always say, like, oh, you're not really going to be in it until you leave. And that just wasn't reasonable for me, because I was like, well, no, I want to be able to quantify it. I can make the money and I can, you know what I mean, be successful before I like up and leave my job. And so I didn't take that leap, but I think once I did, my schedule was so flexible. I was able to do so much more with my time and start looking into new ventures and thinking like, how can I scale now? So I think that was like a really big step for me once I was able to leave my corporate job. I also think a big one for me, and these were conversations we had a lot, was like realizing that my knowledge is valuable and the value of my knowledge. Because I think I would undersell myself, underprice myself on like, and like the smallest things. Like I would think the knowledge I have is like everybody has. And I slowly started to learn that like that's not the case. And you know what I mean? You have other services or knowledge like you can be providing and selling, because no, not every single person knows how to do social media strategy or hashtag optimization or color psychology. And it was something that I was like really just undervaluing myself and my worth. And once I overcame, I think a lot of that, I started to realize the different possibilities for myself, and the different options I had, because I would work with clients and then I would give them, all these things and he'd be like, do you not offer this? And I'd be like, no, why should I? They're like, yeah, like this isn't information that like I have.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big game changer for me too, when I had that awareness. And I think another one, which again, we went in great depths about this, was I think finally just embracing myself
Mm-hmm.
as part of my brand and embracing like the who I am, the playfulness, the jokes, the bright, bold colors. And I'm sure you remember, like when I first started, I had a completely different brand
Mm-hmm.
selected and aesthetic, and like my values were pretty closely aligned, but I think I was playing it safe because I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to do what I thought was expected of me. I wanted to do what I thought people would think was professional and who people would
Mm-hmm.
want to hire. And I did all those neutrals, beiges, and like all of those things. And it was cute, right? It looked
Yeah.
good, but like it just wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think when I finally like realized that professionalism doesn't come in like one shape and size, and like I can still wear and be bold and playful and funny and still be professional and get the job
Mm-hmm.
done and provide great product. And I think that was a big game changer for me too. And like realizing that like you don't have to conform to a mold. And actually, it, and this actually became a huge part of my business.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you then attract those people that you want to work with that identify
Yeah.
like you. There's a lot of people I think that are trying to conform and
Mm-hmm.
do what, maybe replicate what they've seen others doing that works.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing works better than being authentic to yourself, because nothing's going to be more authentic. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what people like and what people want. They want to connect with the person. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that was a big thing for me when I realized like you don't have to be what you think is expected, because I don't even know where I got this thought from that that's expected of me.
Yeah.
Um, and it's great because I now get to work with a lot of people who see my stuff, my boldness, my colors, my personality, and are like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. And they want to work
Mm-hmm.
with me because of that. And I love that.
Yeah, and that's, you're so right. And that's why, diamond effect is there, right? And that's why it's called diamond effect, because ultimately you want to shine your light and you want to attract your people by shining this light, right? Rather than, as you say, conforming to some expectations that you don't even know where they're coming from and whether they're true or not, right? And then attracting people that are not even people you love to work with, because they're getting attracted to somebody who you're not,
Yeah.
as opposed to you. So, and as I said, Madi's Instagram, it's all her and it's amazing. I love it. Like it always brings smile to my face. I always love your content. And it's you, as you say, it's colorful, it's playful, it's fun, but it's also very informative. And as you mentioned, like for me, professionalism is, hey, showing up for your clients, right? Being consistent, being there for them, delivering quality product, quality service. That's professionalism. It doesn't have to be this staunched,
Yeah.
vanilla beige, serious type of thing, right? That's not the only way you can be professional.
Yeah, exactly. Colors do not make you professional, people. If you've been having this thought, not true.
Yes, you can incorporate colors and still be professional.
Yes.
That's awesome. So also some of the things we talked about, you mentioned that yourself, right? You're like the serial entrepreneur. You have like a million ideas in an hour, and sometimes you want to implement them all at the same time. So a bunch of some of the things we worked on was kind of making decisions and deciding, like, out of all those ideas, which ones are great for me to implement now, which ones maybe I should put on a hold on and implement them later, and which one I just do not, are not the best for me and not do them at all. So tell me more about that. Like, how did you, grow there and created that sort of knowledge, right? That inner knowledge is like sifting through all the ideas that are coming.
I think part of it for me is just like at the beginning of time with everything, I finally had the chance to, when I left my corporate job, I was in charge. Like, you know what I mean? I got to make the calls. I got to decide what was being done. So I think in large part for me, it was like letting a little kid like pick their dinner. You know what I mean? I was like, all of it. I want to do it all. So I think some of it was flushing it out of my system, but I also think that as I learned, I was able to look at things in that more of an entrepreneurial mindset and say, like, is this scalable? One, like, is it valuable? Of course, is another thing. And also trying to figure out, like, is there like a life to this? Like, will it continue on? Is this going to be like I put a ton of energy in and it's a one and done, and trying to figure out, like, my time is money. So like, what is worth me putting in the time and effort on? And will that like return an investment be there? And like having to have those conversations with myself and being like, okay, like this is fun. This would be really fun to do, but like, do we need to spend this much time doing something if it's, and sometimes I still do give in. Like, I won't lie. I do give in sometimes because it can just get so fun, but it's also picking and choosing when to give in.
Yeah. And that's, as you say, it's okay to give in. It's not like that everything you do in your business has to have a certain, return on investment and only take a certain amount of time. But making really an educated or conscious and intentional decision rather than reactive decision is all about that. And say, hey, like, I'm going to do it because it's fun and I want to do it. And I thought about it and this is where I'm going. That's the whole point about it.
And I think a lot of it for me too was I did this all the time at the beginning, and I think it still happens every now and then to everyone, but I would go and have like a burnout and be like, oh, like I just did 60 reels in a day because I thought it would be fun. And I was so burnt out after it. And, I set expectations for myself and stuff. And so I think I also realizing, like, to avoid burnout, maybe don't take it all on at once. And that was lesson learned in itself too.
Yeah, balancing it more, right? And
yes,
getting to the point when you're very productive and effective, but without burning yourself out to that one thing or whatever. Yeah, that's awesome. So is there anything else that maybe we haven't talked about yet, whether it's about your journey, your breakthroughs, or the program itself that you would like to share with the listeners?
Yeah, I will say something that I did really love and was unexpected from the program was, I started working with you, and this is actually very funny for anyone who's listening. This is a fun story. I love a story. When I first, even before I like really got into my business, I was looking for business coaches, and I, spoke with tons of people, and Maggie was one of them. And I put a star next to her name and I wrote, I am not ready for her yet, and continued on. And I worked with a different coach at that time who was like maybe more in my price range, but I totally got what I was paying for. And I did not get very much out of that experience. And I think in large part, it was also because I was not fully ready. Right. But as I started to get more serious and I was ready, I went back to my notebook and I was like, there was somebody, and I went back to my notebook and I saw this big star. You're not ready for her yet. And I messaged Maggie and I was like, I think I'm ready for you now. And it was great. So we connected then. And the thing that I didn't expect was, because it's in a group setting, it's not just your knowledge and expertise and stuff I got. I was also able to bounce ideas off of the other women in the group, which was great. And then they became great friends of mine. Like, a lot of them I speak to pretty regularly still, and will still like do co-working sessions with, so it's kind of like a community too, which was a very great added bonus for me. And also that you were just great and very helpful to me. But I love sharing that story with people too, of how I like came crawling back. I was like, I wasn't ready for you then. I'm ready now.
No, that's great. And you know what? You bring two good points. Yes, like to receive coaching, right, and truly get the value of the money you invest in it, you have to be ready in a way. Well, hell, I'm ready to open my mind to the advice and do the work that it takes, right? Because it's not like a coach can just do it for you or magically make things happen, right? We offer a different perspective, we teach you skills and so on, but ultimately you need to do the work. And if you do it, then you get the results. And if you're not ready for it, then yeah, you're right. Like there's no point investing money because you're not going to see the return. But the second point, like the more important point is that yes, the small group coaching, and I believe especially also for like starting entrepreneurs, is such a great environment to help each other and feed off each other and brainstorm idea, but also see that, hey, like the challenges I'm going through, the thoughts that my mind is giving me, I'm not the only one, right? Everybody goes through it and it feels so much better. Like I remember when I was a young parent, when we have kids and you know, like you have challenges with little kids putting tantrums or this and that, and you think that you're the only one. And then you talk to the other parents and they're like, yeah, their kid is the same. They do exactly the same. I feel better now, right? I'm not the only one. Yeah, exactly. It's not just me. And I find that in a group environment for coaching for entrepreneurs, it's very similar.
Yes, very much so. It was like, I'm always that kind of person. Like if something's wrong, sometimes I want advice, but sometimes I just want to commiserate. And I felt like sometimes, like when I would come with problems, I would obviously want problem solving, but I also wanted to just know, like, it's not just me, right? Like, I'm not am I the one here, the odd one out? And I often was confirmed. It was like, no, when I was in that place too, I dealt with the same thing. You're fine. And I was like, great, not failing. Good to know.
Feel better. Let's move on. All right. So tell us, I know you have this amazing branding course that you offer your clients. So tell us a little bit more about that. And also, how can people find you?
Yeah. So this branding course, it's called the Brand Breakthrough. This is really just a master child of all those ideas that were happening. And then I realized, like, as I said earlier, that my knowledge is value. And I kind of was like, ooh, this. And here we are now. So this course is catered to service-based women entrepreneurs. And it is for those individuals who want to start making more sales, have better clarity on their target audience, and really understand what their brand is and get a good grasp on it. So it's really going in depth on like target audience, you know, your brand values, purpose, mission, vision, tone of voice. I even throw color psychology in there, branding on Instagram and on websites. I mean, it's all inclusive. So I just finished my beta testing phase of it, and I can officially say that it is launching in February. And I know I'm super excited about that. I finally have my launch date. So we are in pre-launch phase right now, but if you want to, I guess, learn more about it or me, because as I said, I also do brand logos and websites and all those great things. You can easily find me on Instagram. I'm all over there at Lovelee Creative Media. You could visit my website as well, which is loveleecreative.com. And I can add you onto my email list, get you all the good things, Facebook group, and you can get all the latest news. If you're interested in the course, when it comes out, you'll be the first to get your hands on it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Madi. And we'll put some contact information in the show notes and in there wherever we post the video. Thank you again for agreeing to do this with me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Thanks, Maggie.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.